On a scale of 1 to 10, how important is the scholarship program to the chapter?
Um, for me personally, I can speak for the past 3 years, one going through recruitment and 2 years on the other side of it. I would say almost 90% of the guys who we get, the scholarship fund is a huge reason why, just because I think with a school like Transy, a lot of guys aren't really keen on the idea of going into Greek life, so they're not like ready to spend all this money. So when you tell them, hey, you know, if you do well academically, we're willing to help you out with a little extra money off your dues. I think that's been a huge incentive to get guys and into the chapter. I know, like, I want to say almost every conversation I've had with a potential new member has involved talking about the scholarship in one way or another. So I think personally, it's very useful.
Yeah, I think especially with Greek life right now, a big problem people have with it coming in is they have like the idea of it potentially hurting their academics. So when they hear that not only do we expect you to do well in the classroom, but we also incentivize it, I think it's a big draw for a lot of people and a big part of the reason that we've been so successful academically. And a big part of the reason that, parents feel comfortable putting their kids in the chapter because they know they're going to succeed academically, and that's how important it is to us. Also, like the first question people have when they're joining is, "What's the price?" And being able to tell them like, "Hey, not only is this the price, but if you do well academically, we knock this much money off," is a big part of the recruitment process and a big part of the reason we've been so successful the last 3 years.
So if it ended tomorrow and you didn't have any more money to give out, you're in the same position that all the other chapters on campus are in, right? I mean, they're not handing out money and they're picking up pledges. So how much would it really hurt you?
Um, I think for us, I think in an active count, I think we'd probably lose a few actives just because they're used to it, and there's probably a few guys we have who are kind of on the edge of being able to afford it, not being able to afford it, and so that helps us out a lot. If you are talking in terms of getting new members, um, I think like Ryan was saying, the big thing that it kind of would hurt is the scholarship kind of allows us to prove that yes, academics, we aren't just saying academics are important, we are promoting and actively rewarding good academics.
Yeah. I think actually, so Delta Sigma Phi, I'm not sure if they still do this, but I believe they also hand out scholarship money to new members. I think the other thing too is with the scholarship already, there's already a lot of people who we have to put on a financial plan to help them get their dues paid. So not only would they be losing that scholarship money, that kind of just might put them over the edge of it's already difficult for them to pay, and be kind of be the last straw for them in terms of continuing with Greek life
Is
because
is the
transit is
amount
expensive.
is the amount of money that you have to pay when you first become a member of the fraternity the same amount that you're paying in your senior year or your junior year? In other words, are you paying more money up front uh, to join the fraternity in your first year?
Uh,
No, we incur the initiation fees for each new member. So since they don't get the grade discount on the first semester, they pay their due in full, but their dues amount, like the base amount, stays the same all 4 years.
And how much are the dues? How much are people being asked to pay?
Dues are $450 a semester, and we plan on raising those every 2 years just to keep up with inflation and just cost of everything.
450 a semester. Bill, how much was it when you were a member?
I want to
Just
say it might have been $30 a month,
yeah, because I don't know what that is, adjusted for inflation. Um,
but it's
but
important to note, but guys, the first semester that money doesn't stay with the chapter. That most of that gets shipped off to national, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Is there any way for you guys as a chapter to raise money?
We actually are getting a new chairman position that Nationals is coming to talk to us about at the beginning of February. I think it's an endowment chair, and it's all about raising money for funds like this and the 5K club and things like that. We do a golf scramble and fundraisers throughout the year, but I think we raise on the golf scramble, we'll raise like 15 to $2,000, 1,500 to 2,000.
That money's going to charity, right? Not, doesn't go to chapter.
The fundraiser goes to the chapter. We also
Okay.
do philanthropy. Our philanthropy raises quite a bit more than that.
Have you got any people in Lexington who are celebrities, sports stars, anybody like that who's an ex-member of the chapter?
Not that I know of. No, no, sir.
No local big shots, huh?
Mm-mm.
A couple
I
of
think I think a
mayors.
big
We have two mayors.
I think a big problem with alumni engagement is, like you talked about, Mr. Berman, the chapter kind of has its up and downs. So maybe alumni will be engaged, and then they'll see the chapter kind of going down. So then they'll lose engagement. But when the chapter comes back up, they never really regain that engagement. So I think a lot of people kind of get caught or lost in that, and it's hard to get back in contact with those people because they've kind of just moved on from the chapter as a whole.
It's a good point. Um, it's kind of like somebody has a bad meal in a restaurant, they don't go back, even though the restaurant, that was just a one-off deal.
Right.
Um, so when you're thinking about lowering the bar, if you lower it too far, that doesn't get you anywhere. Uh, what if you left it like it is, but once you qualify for a lottery so that not everybody wins, but your name gets put in a lottery and then maybe only half the guys win.
I wonder if there's a way to do maybe not a lottery, but more of a merit system where like guys who have consistently, so say a guy who hit a 4.0 for the first time that semester wouldn't have the same priority that a guy who's hit a 4.0 four semesters in a row would have, or something like that. Like if you also accounted in, say you take the semester GPA and you then use the overall GPA to then order it, and the top like you said, top half might get it out of that band of scholarship.
But I do know that this conversation is part of something I needed before I even went down that road. I want to be able to I talked to you guys and that you said this is really important. Um, and um, I'm not certain again, as I said, that that's going to mean anything to some of these guys. And again, if some of them came up with $5,000, well, $5,000 doesn't even cover one semester's gifting at the current rate. So I think you need some stream of income that might come from something that you could do every year to raise money. And um, I don't have that answer. The reason I asked if you had some big time um, celebrity in Lexington who was an ex-Pike, that maybe you could work a fundraiser around that person, golf or something. But if that's not available, then that idea is off the table. Um, but maybe it's something you ought to think about because again, it's money in and money out. That's what we're dealing with here. And I have no reason to believe that it's not.
Oh.
So,
So
Bill, I guess the ball's in my court. Um, I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but I promise you I will. I'll do something with it.
Hey, thank you for seeking out their advice.
Well, best thing you can do is get educated. And then after that, um, whatever mistakes I make will only be because I couldn't understand what I was listening to.
Mr. Berman, I'm going to sit down and probably brainstorm with my VPs and the treasurer to kind of see what we could come up with, just idea wise. I'll email you my phone number. So if you have any more questions or anything, feel free to just shoot me a text or call me.
You got a deal. I appreciate that, Jackson. And by the way, Ryan Jackson, you can refer to me as Rick.
Yeah,